A single comment in public was all it took to spark whispers of a new royal storm. Reports claimed that Queen Camilla's daughter, Laura Lopez, made remarks about Princess, and that shocked royal watchers and reportedly angered Prince William. But what really happened behind the headlines? Was this a genuine family conflict, a misunderstanding, or another example of how royal rumors can explode into global drama? Stay until the end, because the truth behind this story is far more complicated than many people realize. Before anyone could understand why this story attracted so much attention, they first had to understand one person at the center of it all, Princess Anne. For decades, and has built a reputation unlike almost anyone else in the royal family. While other royals often dominate newspaper headlines, and has spent most of her life quietly carrying out hundreds of public duties every year, many royal experts and media outlets have described her as one of the hardest-working members of the monarchy. Born in 1950 as the only daughter of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip, and grew up inside one of the most famous families in the world. But unlike many public figures, she never seemed interested in chasing attention. Instead, she became known for discipline, honesty, and an intense sense of duty. Over the years, she earned respect for more than royal appearances. She competed in the Olympic Games as an equestrian, supported hundreds of charities, and carried out thousands of official engagements. Her work ethic became legendary among royal watchers. That reputation mattered, because within the royal family, and was often seen as someone who spoke directly and valued service over publicity. Even people who did not always agree with her respected her commitment. Many commentators have referred to her as a dependable and stabilizing figure within the monarchy. This is one reason Prince William has often been linked to and in royal discussions. William grew up watching his aunt carry out her responsibilities without seeking praise. As public pressure on the younger generation increased, Anne's example became even more important. Royal observers frequently describe her as one of the family's most respected senior figures. So when stories began circulating that someone connected to Queen Camilla had publicly criticized Anne, many people immediately paid attention. Why? Because criticism aimed at and often feels different from criticism aimed at more controversial royal figures. To many supporters of the monarchy, Anne represents duty, loyalty, and stability. But there was another important figure in this story, someone who rarely seeks the spotlight at all. And as we will see next, her connection to Queen Camilla would suddenly place her at the center of a growing royal controversy. What do you think has been Princess Anne's greatest contribution to the royal family? Share your opinion in the comments below. While Princess Anne spent most of her life carrying out royal duties, the other name in this story followed a very different path. Laura Lopez, the daughter of Queen Camilla, has always lived close to the royal family, without truly being part of its official public role. Unlike senior royals, she does not represent the monarchy, attend endless engagements, or regularly appear in front-page headlines. Most of the time, she prefers a quieter life away from the cameras. That choice made her something of a mystery. When Camilla married King Charles in 2005, public attention naturally focused on the royal couple. But many people were also curious about Camilla's children. Laura suddenly found herself connected to one of the world's most famous families. Yet instead of embracing the spotlight, she largely stayed out of it. Friends and observers often described her as someone who valued privacy. She built her own career and family life rather than becoming a public royal figure. For years, many royal followers knew very little about her compared with other members of the extended family. However, staying out of the spotlight does not always protect someone from becoming part of a headline. As Queen Camilla's position inside the monarchy grew stronger, interest in her family also increased. Every appearance, every photo, and every public comment could quickly become news. In today's media world, even a small remark can travel across the internet within hours. And that is exactly what appeared to happen. Suddenly, stories began spreading online claiming that Laura had made comments about Princess Anne. Social media accounts, blogs, and royal discussion channels repeated the claims. Some reports suggested the remarks were disrespectful. Others described them as criticism. A few even claimed the comments created tension inside the royal family. The problem was that many versions of the story were different. One headline would describe a serious confrontation. Another would suggest a simple disagreement. Others offered dramatic details without providing clear evidence. As the story spread, separating fact from rumor became increasingly difficult. This is where many royal controversies take on a life of their own. A claim appears online. People react emotionally. New versions of the story emerge. Soon, millions are discussing events that may not have happened exactly as reported. But despite the uncertainty, one thing was clear. Princess Anne's name had been pulled into the conversation. And because of Anne's respected status, the alleged comments quickly attracted attention from royal supporters around the world. What happened next would push the story even further. Reports began suggesting that Prince William himself was unhappy about the situation. Whether those reports were accurate or exaggerated, they fueled an even bigger media frenzy. By the time the story reached major royal discussion circles, many people believed they already knew what had happened. According to viral posts and online reports, Laura Lopez had supposedly made comments about Princess, and that some observers viewed as disrespectful. The claims spread quickly across social media platforms, video channels, and royal gossip forums. Within days, countless viewers were debating the situation as if it were a confirmed event. But there was a problem. The more closely people examined the story, the harder it became to find a clear and verified source for the alleged remarks. This is often how modern royal controversies grow. A single claim appears online. Then another account repeats it. Soon dozens of websites are discussing the same story. Eventually, many readers assume the information must be true simply because they have seen it so many times. Yet repetition is not proof. As royal commentators looked deeper, different versions of the alleged comment began appearing. Some reports described a criticism of Anne's personality. Others suggested a disagreement about royal traditions. A few versions painted the situation as a major family conflict. The details kept changing. That inconsistency only created more curiosity. People started asking the same question. If the comments were real, what exactly had been said? The uncertainty did not stop the story from growing. In fact, it may have helped it grow even faster. When facts are limited, speculation often rushes in to fill the empty space. Meanwhile, supporters of Princess Anne were quick to defend her reputation. For many people, Anne represents decades of loyal service. They saw her as one of the few royals who rarely seeks attention and consistently focuses on duty. As emotions increased online, the alleged comment became less important than what it seemed to represent. To some observers, the story became a debate about respect. Others viewed it as another chapter in the ongoing tensions that many people believe exist within different branches of the royal family. However, nobody knew whether those tensions actually existed behind closed doors. And that uncertainty created the perfect environment for dramatic headlines. News-style articles, commentary videos, and social media posts began using stronger language. Words like feud, clash, and royal war appeared more frequently. Every new headline attracted more clicks, more discussions, and more theories. But while the public focused on the alleged comment, another name was increasingly being pulled into the conversation: Prince William. Some reports claimed he was deeply upset. Others suggested he had privately defended Anne. A few even described him as furious. Whether those reports reflected reality or media exaggeration remained unclear. But one thing was certain: the world was now watching closely. And if William truly felt protective of anyone in the royal family, there was a very good reason why Princess Anne would be near the top of that list. What happened next would reveal why and hold such a special place in William's view of the monarchy. And that is where this royal drama truly began. Long before the rumors, the headlines, and the online debates, there was already a strong reason many royal watchers believed Prince William would stand behind Princess Anne. It was built on years of respect. Growing up inside the royal family is not easy. Every action is watched. Every mistake becomes news. Every decision can be judged by millions of people. William experienced that pressure from a very young age. Throughout those years, Princess Anne represented something different. She was not known for chasing publicity. She was not constantly involved in public drama. Instead, she focused on work. Year after year, she carried out hundreds of engagements, supported charities, and maintained a reputation for discipline and dedication. For a young royal learning how to handle public life, That example mattered. Many royal commentators have described and as one of the monarchy's most dependable figures. While public attention often shifted toward scandals and controversies, and continued doing what she had always done, serving quietly and consistently. William noticed that, as he grew older and took on greater responsibilities, the challenges became even bigger. The future king faced intense media attention, personal loss, and enormous expectations. During those difficult years, Anne's approach to royal duty remained a powerful example. She rarely complained publicly. She rarely sought sympathy. She simply kept moving forward. That attitude earned admiration from many members of the family, including William. This is why stories involving criticism of and often generate strong reactions among royal supporters. People do not just see Anne as another royal relative. They see her as someone who has spent decades supporting the institution through both good times and bad. But there was another layer to the story. The monarchy itself has entered a period of major change. Queen Elizabeth II is gone. King Charles now leads the institution. William is preparing for an even larger role in the future. During times of transition, experienced figures like Anne become especially valuable. She represents continuity. She represents stability. And perhaps most importantly, she represents a connection between generations of the monarchy. That is why rumors suggesting a conflict involving and attracted so much attention. Whether the reports were true, exaggerated, or completely misunderstood, many people found it difficult to imagine William staying silent if he believed and had been treated unfairly. However, the public still faced a major problem. No one truly knew what was happening behind palace walls. The headlines claimed one thing. Social media claimed another. Royal commentators offered their own theories. But the reality could have been very different. And as the story continued to spread, the gap between verified facts and public speculation became larger than ever. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden stories behind royal headlines and the people involved, subscribe because the next chapter reveals how rumors can sometimes become bigger than the truth itself. By now, the alleged dispute had become much bigger than the original claim. What may have started as a simple rumor was turning into a worldwide conversation. Thousands of people were discussing the story online. Videos appeared across social media. Articles repeated dramatic claims. Comment sections filled with arguments about who was right and who was wrong. Yet, one important question remained unanswered. This is where the modern media environment becomes fascinating. Years ago, a royal story would usually pass through newspapers, television networks, and official sources before reaching the public. Today, information moves differently. A single post can reach millions of people before anyone has verified whether it is accurate. The alleged comments involving Laura Lopez and Princess and followed that pattern. Every new headline seemed more dramatic than the last. Some stories claimed a major family divide. Others suggested secret tensions inside the palace. A few reports even described an emotional confrontation involving Prince William. The problem was that many of these claims relied on anonymous sources, speculation, or repeated rumors rather than confirmed public statements. As a result, the story became a perfect example of how royal narratives can grow. One article quotes another. One video references a different video. One social media account repeats a claim from somewhere else. Soon, millions of people are discussing a story whose original source is difficult to identify. The world saw excitement. The media saw attention. But the truth often becomes harder to find. And this is not the first time such a situation has happened. The royal family has always attracted enormous public interest. People want to know what happens behind palace gates. They want to understand relationships, disagreements, and private conversations. That curiosity creates a powerful market for stories. Some stories are accurate, some are partially true, and some become larger than reality itself. What made this situation especially interesting was the involvement of Princess Anne. Anne's reputation has remained remarkably strong over the years. Even people who disagree with the monarchy often acknowledge her commitment to public service. Because of that reputation, many readers immediately reacted when they saw her name connected to controversy. But as the discussion grew louder, another possibility emerged. What if the biggest story was not the alleged comment? What if the real story was how quickly people were willing to believe the worst? That question forced observers to look beyond the headlines. Behind every viral royal controversy lies a deeper issue: the struggle to separate fact from speculation. And nowhere was that struggle more important than inside the palace itself. Because while the public argued online, life within the royal family continued. Official duties continued. Public engagements continued. And there was little visible evidence that the dramatic feud described in headlines was affecting the monarchy in the way many people imagined. However, that does not mean the situation was meaningless. In fact, it revealed something important about how the public views the royal family today. And what was happening behind palace walls may have been very different from what the world believed. As the online debate grew louder, a different picture began to emerge. Away from social media headlines and dramatic commentary videos, the royal family continued carrying out its duties, much as it always had. Public appearances went ahead. Official engagements remained on schedule. There were no major public signs of the explosive conflict that many reports seemed to suggest. That does not mean relationships inside the family are always perfect. Like any family, the royals have experienced disagreements, different personalities, and moments of tension over the years. But the challenge for the public is that very little of what happens privately is ever confirmed. That gap creates an opportunity for speculation. When information is limited, people often fill in the missing pieces themselves. In this case, many observers began treating rumors as established facts. The alleged comments became a symbol of something larger. Some saw it as a clash between old traditions and modern attitudes. Others viewed it as evidence of hidden divisions within the monarchy. But there was little verified evidence to support those dramatic conclusions. What we do know is that Princess and has continued to be one of the most active working royals. Prince William has continued preparing for his future role while taking on increasing responsibilities. Queen Camilla has also continued carrying out public duties alongside King Charles. Life moved forward, and that reality tells its own story. Sometimes the biggest headlines create the impression that a royal crisis is unfolding behind closed doors. Yet when the cameras move on, the institution often continues operating much as before. Still, there is an important reason these stories attract so much attention. People are not only interested in crowns, titles, and ceremonies. They are interested in human relationships. They want to know who gets along, who disagrees, who supports whom during difficult moments. That emotional curiosity is what keeps royal stories alive. And in this case, many people focused on Prince William because they saw him as someone who values loyalty. Whether or not he ever reacted with the fury described in headlines, supporters believed he would naturally respect and defend someone who had spent decades serving the monarchy. That belief helped fuel the story. Yet perhaps the most surprising lesson is this: the public often learns more about itself during these controversies than it learns about the royals. People choose sides. They defend favorites. They interpret limited information through their own opinions and emotions. And before long, a rumor can feel as real as a confirmed fact. Many people watching this have faced moments where they felt judged by stories, assumptions, or misunderstandings. Sometimes others decide who we are before knowing the full truth. Yet those moments can remind us of the importance of patience, evidence, and perspective. But the story is not over yet, because the biggest lesson of all goes far beyond William, Camilla, Laura, or Anne. It is about why royal drama continues to capture the world's attention generation after generation. In the end, the story was never just about an alleged comment. It was about something much larger. For generations, the royal family has existed in a unique position. They are among the most famous people in the world, yet much of their private lives remains hidden. That combination creates endless fascination. People naturally want answers. They want to know what happens behind palace doors. They want to understand relationships that the public rarely gets to see. And whenever information is limited, rumors often rush in to fill the silence. The alleged dispute involving Princess Anne, Laura Lopez, and Prince William became a perfect example of that reality. A claim appeared. The claim spread. The story grew. Then the headlines became bigger than the available evidence. For many viewers, the most interesting part was not whether a specific comment was made. It was what the story seemed to represent. Some saw loyalty. Others saw family tension. Others saw a battle between different generations of the monarchy. Each person interpreted the situation through their own perspective. Meanwhile, Princess Anne continued doing what she has done for decades. Working, serving, showing up. Her reputation was not built in a single day, and it was never likely to be changed by a single headline. The same is true for Prince William. Throughout his life, he has faced public scrutiny, constant media attention, and enormous expectations. Yet he continues moving toward the future role that awaits him. As for Laura Lopez, she remains someone who largely avoids the spotlight, despite being connected to one of the most famous families on Earth. That may be the greatest irony of all. A person who prefers privacy became part of a global discussion because of a story that many people could not fully verify. And perhaps that is the lesson worth remembering. In today's world, information travels faster than ever before. A rumor can circle the globe in hours. A headline can shape opinions before facts are confirmed. And a dramatic story can attract more attention than a quiet truth. That does not mean every report is false. It simply means that careful thinking matters. Evidence matters. Context matters. Because behind every royal headline are real people living real lives, often under extraordinary pressure. The world may never know every detail of what truly happened in this story. But we do know this. Princess Anne remains one of the most respected figures in the monarchy. Prince William continues to be viewed as a future leader, carrying immense responsibility. And the fascination surrounding the royal family shows no sign of disappearing anytime soon. As one controversy fades, another inevitably takes its place. And that is why millions continue watching, reading, and debating royal stories year after year. But this is only one story of fame, power, and public perception hiding a deeper truth. In our next documentary, we uncover another royal journey filled with surprises, conflicts, and moments that changed history forever. To understand why the story gained so much attention, we need to look at something deeper than headlines. Princess Anne's reputation was built over an entire lifetime. While many royals have faced periods of public criticism and has largely avoided major scandals, she became known for putting duty ahead of publicity. Over the decades, that consistency earned her respect not only from royal supporters, but also from many people who normally pay little attention to royal affairs. That reputation acts almost like a shield. Whenever Anne's name appears in a controversy, people immediately become curious because it feels unusual. Many royal watchers often describe her as one of the monarchy's strongest assets. She represents stability during times of change. She witnessed the reign of Queen Elizabeth II, the transition to King Charles, and the rise of the next generation led by Prince William. Very few members of the royal family have experienced so much history from such a close position. Perhaps that is why many people assumed William would naturally support her if tensions ever emerged. But the reality is often more complicated than the public imagines. The royal family rarely comments on rumors. Silence leaves room for interpretation, and interpretation often becomes the fuel that keeps stories alive long after the original claim appears. Yet through all the speculation, Anne's image remained largely unchanged. That says a great deal about the respect she has earned throughout her life. As Prince William moves closer to becoming king one day, stories like this reveal the challenges waiting ahead. The world is very different from the one Queen Elizabeth entered decades ago. Today, every photograph is analyzed. Every gesture is discussed. Every rumor can become international news within hours. Future monarchs must navigate a world where social media never sleeps. William understands this reality better than most. He has spent his entire life under public observation. He has experienced both admiration and criticism. He has seen how quickly public opinion can change. That experience may become one of his greatest strengths. Many observers believe William wants a monarchy that feels more focused, modern, and connected to the public. But achieving that goal will not be easy. Every family disagreement, every public appearance, and every unexpected headline will continue attracting attention. The challenge is not avoiding controversy. The challenge is maintaining trust despite it. And that may be why stories involving respected figures like Princess Anne generate such strong reactions. People see them as symbols of values they want the monarchy to preserve: duty, responsibility, commitment. As the next chapter of royal history unfolds, those values may become more important than ever. When future historians look back at stories like this, they may not focus on the rumor itself. Instead, they may focus on what it revealed about the modern world. A single claim traveled across the internet. Millions discussed it. Countless opinions formed. Yet the evidence remained limited. That pattern is becoming increasingly common. The public no longer simply consumes news. People participate in it. They share it, debate it, interpret it, and sometimes transform it into something much larger than where it began. The alleged conflict involving William, Laura Lopez, and Princess and may eventually be forgotten. But the lesson will remain. Not every dramatic headline tells the full story. Not every rumor becomes reality. And sometimes the most important truth is hidden beneath the noise. The fascination with the royal family will continue because people are drawn to stories about power, loyalty, family, and legacy. Those themes are timeless. And as long as the monarchy exists, the world will keep searching for answers behind the palace walls, even when the real story may be very different from the one making headlines. From the outside, royal life can look perfect. The palaces, the ceremonies, the crowds, the global attention. But behind that image is a level of pressure that few people can truly understand. Every public appearance is analyzed. Every word is examined. Every relationship becomes a topic for discussion. For members of the royal family, there's almost no such thing as a completely private life. That pressure affects everyone differently. Some embrace public attention. Others try to avoid it. Some become stronger under the spotlight. Others struggle with its weight. This is why even small stories can grow into major controversies. The public sees a headline, but they do not always see the emotional pressure that comes with living under constant observation. For decades, Princess has managed that pressure better than most. She learned how to focus on her responsibilities while ignoring much of the noise around her. That ability may be one of the reasons she remains such a respected figure today. And it is also why so many people reacted strongly when her name became part of another royal controversy. There are celebrities more famous than some royals. There are politicians with greater power. Yet few families attract attention like the British royal family. Why? Because royal stories combine several things people naturally care about: family, power, tradition, success, conflict, history. Every royal story contains elements of a drama that feels larger than everyday life. The public wants heroes. They want villains. They want mysteries. And most of all, they want answers. Media organizations understand this. Content creators understand this. Social media algorithms understand this. That is why royal stories often spread so quickly. The more emotional a headline sounds, the more attention it receives. The more attention it receives, the more people discuss it, and the cycle continues. The alleged dispute involving Princess Laura Lopez and Prince William followed this exact pattern. What began as a claim eventually became a worldwide conversation. Regardless of whether the claims were fully accurate, the public fascination was undeniable, and that fascination continues to shape how royal stories are told today. Years from now, most people may not remember the exact details of this controversy. They may forget the headlines. They may forget the rumors. They may even forget the debates that filled social media. But they will likely remember something else: the legacy of the people involved. Princess will be remembered for decades of service. Prince William will be remembered as a future king navigating a changing world. King Charles and Queen Camilla will be remembered as figures who guided the monarchy through one of its most significant transitions. The headlines of today eventually fade. Legacy remains. That may be the most powerful lesson in this entire story. Moments of controversy come and go. Public opinion rises and falls. But a lifetime of actions leaves a much deeper mark. And perhaps that is why stories like this continue to fascinate millions. Because beneath every headline is a larger question. When the noise disappears, what will people remember? For Princess the answer may already be clear. Not the rumors, not the controversy, but the decades of commitment that helped define an era of royal history.